Okay, here we are for another catch up with Mayo, and it's just a general fun live stream Q&A. Everybody's welcome if they like to hit the button below to support the channel, and yeah, here we are. So we're gonna wait for some people to pop on here and see how many we get over time. Okay, it's a beautiful day today on a Friday. And today's date is May the 20th of 2022. And I'm supposed to see my friend Annie later on today in a few hours. And we'll talk about that probably as we go. Hello, we got some people here. Hello, Padge. Hello, Christopher. Christopher 628 to be exact. So we don't get them mixed up with any other Christophers. I'm wearing my Munsters shirt today. Munsters, right? I like this shirt. And Anthony likes the Munsters as well. So I know I'm going to be seeing Anthony. So that's pretty cool. Hello, Ant. What's going on? Antoine. Antoine. Right? That's saying it right. All right. So what is on your mind this morning, noon, or night? Huh? Let's find out what we got going on here. Anybody want to bring up subjects to start us off? Please be my guest. And, I'll be your guest. You can be my guest. What's my thoughts on Hellraiser, the movie Hellraiser? It's been a very, very long time since I've seen Hellraiser. The first Hellraiser, I really, really liked. I caught the first Hellraiser years after it was released on videotape, and it was pretty good. But I remember the first Hellraiser that I saw was Hellraiser 2 before I'd seen 1. I hadn't seen 1 yet, and 2 I actually saw in the movie theater, so I got the full impact. And I remember it was wild, it was crazy, it was gory and all kinds of stuff. And didn't really like it too much. But then I went back later and watched the first Hellraiser, and I wound up liking the first one. I didn't see any of the others, I don't believe. I might have seen one of the others in the movie theater now that I think of it, but I don't remember it. Okay, Christopher, do you actually go to any Mets games or just on TV? I haven't been to a Mets game in a few years, well before COVID, well before COVID. But I like going to Mets games, and hopefully, once things really get settled, I'll be going to some Mets games. And if I do, I'll probably be recording some of it there, me being there and make a video out of it, because I am trying to make a Mets series. I haven't really decided how to go about this Mets series, what I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to do videos every game or anything, reporting on every game. But as I have thoughts, like I have some thoughts right now, I'm learning, I didn't know last night. I was clued in on my chat last night that there were all kinds of new rules or something. The second base rule during extra innings, put a man on second. That's insane, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know what the tickets are like for a baseball game. They must be insane. Everything else is insane price wise right now. So why not? Yeah, Farrell McNulty says the first chapter of horror movie franchise is usually the best. Usually, yeah, but not always. Not always. Like Friday the 13th, I like the sequels better than the original. You know, how do I take my coffee? I love, I really like questions like that. Well, here's the thing: I don't drink coffee, not anymore, anyway. I used to drink coffee. I always every time a coffee question comes up, I always talk about it. The last time I had coffee was in 2014, so it's a while now. 2014, and I got so sick and was vomiting coffee all night. Something went wrong. I don't know what went wrong. I never had it again. But anyway, when I was drinking coffee, which wasn't much anyway, I would have coffee light and sweet. That's how I like it, light and sweet. Now, Richard the Music Maniac is here. Hello, Richard. There's no link because this is not a StreamYard. This is just me solo doing this. So, you know, this is not a StreamYard where people come up on screen. So, you're saying that the Universal Music Group is starting to raise prices of new vinyl $10 more. Looks like inflation is now impacting the vinyl world. Luckily for me, there's very little new vinyl that I need. Most of the vinyl that I like is when I go to my record store and I buy used vinyl. Used vinyl that's really in nice shape. So it doesn't really affect me too much. You know. The Black Sabbath album, no, like most of the albums, I haven't played it yet. But however, I already heard it in the store first. We played one side in the store, and I liked it. That's why I bought it. So, and instead of coffee, I'm having water. Water, a real pick me up for breakfast, right? Mr. Blood Vessel, what's the good words? I do not have any Vangelis, or however you say his name, Vangelis, whatever it is. LPs. No, of course not. Me? Are you kidding? Richard says happy retirement. Thank you, Richard, Music Maniac. Hello, Daniel Bean. Good morning to you too, as well. So, what's on your so-called minds? Christopher is going to put crystal light in water to make it tolerable. No, no, I'm fine with plain straight water. Kind of defeats the whole purpose of having water if you're going to put chemicals in it. Sugar, whether it's sugar or maybe not sugar, but sweeteners. Yeah, a chariot of fire composer. So, hi, Marcus. Do I remember clear Pepsi? No, I don't. I do not remember clear Pepsi. I do not. I don't know if it's true or not, but I hear that when you have like cola, it's actually clear naturally. Is that right? The cola is actually clear naturally, and they add that coloring to it. I don't know if that's true or not. Good morning, Darren Gamble. What's going on? So they called that clear Pepsi Crystal Pepsi, did they? Don't know about that. They had Tab. Remember Tab soda, diet soda that was clear Tab. Yeah. It beats me, Lancers. I have no idea. How does Coca-Cola clean out their trucks? They use Coca-Cola. I believe it. That's crap. The worst thing you could drink is soda, I think. The worst thing you could consume. I always tell this story. One time, just a friend of mine, he just said to me, "What do you think is the worst food you could put in your body? The worst thing for you?" And I thought about it. I said, "Well, I think soda, you know, probably. It's very abrasive and acidic, and it's like you could like. I think wasn't there a I don't know what's the word I'm looking for? That survey is not the word. A test where they took a nail, uh, put a nail in Coca Cola, and it wound up disintegrating. Okay, Richard, the music maniac, is asking me, how do you think Paul McCartney is doing on this tour? Well, the only thing I've done is I've watched some videos, and as to be expected, Paul sounds pretty rough. Now, my experience is that as bad as Paul sounds, and he does sound bad at times, I think, from what I've heard, When you're there live and you're actually in the arena and you're hearing him with the whole band and the crowd, everything, it sounds better. When you watch it on YouTube and the sound is more centered on for Paul, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't sound as good. But as I say, right now the idea is that you go to see Paul as a man about to turn 80 years old next month, and you either accept Paul for who he is and how he is now, or you do not. That's the choice is up to the individual, and of course, many people are not accepting it. They don't want to see Paul. They're not going to, but there are well more than enough to sell these tickets and to have the stadiums full. So, that's it. I know that aggravates a lot of people. They say, "Oh, Paul's old. He can't sing anymore. What are you wasting your money for?" These same people that complain about the money that you're supposedly wasting, air quotes, on McCartney are the same idiots who smoke pot, waste their money on cigarettes and booze. So you tell me what is a bigger waste of money. Perhaps that's all subjective, but there's no way in hell you're going to tell me that to see a rock icon like Paul and enjoy like a 2 to 3 hour experience with him, even if he's not at his prime or his peak, is certainly better than inhaling a lot of garbage. All right. We all know that. I think even the people who make those claims know that in their hearts. They realize that. So that's how I feel about that. Let's see. Darren's talking about the Beatles Get Back DVD. Let's see. Did you read the Mr. Blood Vessels? Did you read that diss of Phil Collins by McCartney? It's a good one. I remember reading that. I don't remember the whole thing now. I don't remember if isn't he say something like our little Phil? It seems here our little Phil is a Beatles fan or something like that. Is that what it is? Something like that. That supposedly Phil Collins said something to Paul, and Paul said something like that. I actually don't think it's a big deal. To tell you the truth, in defense of Paul, it's just Paul's sense of humor. Exactly, Marcus. Would you rather spend the money I was talking about on stuff you get into trouble with, or on an experience of a lifetime. Exactly. You would think that these people realize this. The people that complain about people who spend their money on this stuff, and of course, it's their money to spend on whatever they want. I mean, you could take like $100 bill and tear it up and throw it in the garbage if you like. It's your money, But whatever. Hello to Japan. I see Japan is here. I love when you get other countries, other places. And so, do you think John would have been pissed off if he seen Paul taking all the credit for the Beatles? Yeah, I think so. But what's more, if John was alive today, I don't think Paul would be taking the credit for the Beatles. I think that because John has been dead for almost 42 years now, hard to believe, a lot of people, including Paul, feel that John is like deified as a martyr and a god. Paul once called him, he's being treated like Martin Luther Lennon or something like that. And that was the case. That was the case in the 1980s for sure. Maybe even some of the 90s, but 21st century, it's all about Paul. Paul has no reason to be insecure, and I think Paul is still insecure about his legacy. I think he still feels that people out there think John did it all, which is insane because the more decades and decades and decades away from John's life that we get with him not here anymore, the more it's obvious that Paul did it all, or most of it, or so it seems. Paul has really done a good job, and not all of it. I don't mean it in a malicious way. I don't mean that Paul's been malicious, but he's done a really good job of securing his legacy and really, getting it back from John. Whatever Paul was worried about, he should not be worrying about anymore because between Paul making new albums, going on concert tours, appealing to new generations of fans, he's got it in the bag. But yet, it's interesting that Paul still seems to feel. I think Paul still feels insecure. He thinks that John's getting more clout than him, and that's a shame that he still feels that way because it's just crazy, you know. Uh, okay, Cherry Carter, good day. I forget Cherry Carter from Australia. Good day. Hello to James Farley. What's going on, James? Padge says, Because it seems to me that Paul is taking credit for tracks he didn't take credit for in the past." Right. I mean, he wasn't worried about being for the benefit of Mr. Kite for 50 years or whatever it was. And all of a sudden he decides, I'm going to start getting some attention for this because I wrote half of it or whatever. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I'm not saying he's lying about these things. I'm not saying Paul's lying. I just think he's getting rather petty and worried about how he's going to be remembered. So he's got to let everybody know. I wrote a piece of all these. It's like I don't know if he wrote half or a quarter, if he wrote anything. I suppose it's his right to tell people he did, but it's also still a little bit, petty. Uh, yeah, and Joe F says I think the Get Back documentary shows that Paul was driving the band at that time. Well, there's no surprise in that. Obviously, at that time, the other three Beatles were very lethargic about the band. Paul was the only one that was really strongly gung ho to keep it going and try to perform and get something going and want to work. It was mostly Paul, sure. So he comes out smelling like a rose in the Get Back documentary, sure. Mm. So what's going on, folks? All right. On this Friday morning where I am, 9:07 a.m. For anybody out there watching that wants to know the time, at the tone, it will be 9:07. Oh, excuse me. I knew as soon as I said that it was going to change to 9:08. At the tone, it will be 9:08. Doot. There you go, 9:08. All right. So what's on your mind? What's the good word? Got the sun coming through. Marcus is thinking of getting George Harrison's Cloud 9 vinyl. And it's to me one of his George's best albums. Some people feel it's a little too slick with the Jeff Lynne production. I think it's great. If I like Jeff Lynne, I think Jeff Lynne saved George's career with that album. I am in the state of New York. Richard the Music Maniac. I will agree that today it seems like Paul is the Beatles, which isn't right. I've always concerned them for individuals. They were all amazing in their own way. Of course, you couldn't have the Beatles. Of course, we all know this. You couldn't have the Beatles without all those members. Those four members made the Beatles. But there is no denying that Paul was the biggest force behind the Beatles, even when John was alive. You know, even when John was alive, and you think about the Beatles. And I know Marcus is here right now, who's a big Lennon fan. So let's see what Marcus has to say. Uh, And Padge says, "Do you think if the Beatles continued in the '70s, George would have carried the band?" Now, you see, this is the problem with questions like, "Do you think in the future? What if?" And it would. The problem with those kind of questions, to me, and why they're frustrating, is that you can't really. The only thing you can go by is what happened when the person died. What state was he in? So, if George was in the state when he died that he didn't care about the Beatles, it's natural to think, well, I guess you never would have cared about the Beatles. So, what do you really don't have much to go on. So, and Marcus Thompson says, and wasn't that one of the main reasons why the other Beatles were so suspect of the Let It Be movie? It gave Paul a chance to be in the spotlight. Well, I know John felt like that. And he said that in the Rolling Stone interview of 1970, late 70. Um, I don't know. I think you're right, Lancers. He says, I don't think there's any band that was only in existence for 10 years that have made an impact like the Beatles. Absolutely. Don't forget, however long they were together, technically, they really only recorded from 1962 to 69, really. It's like 7 years of actual recording. Vince says on the bottom here, Oasis destroyed the Beatles in the 60s. Now, I'm drinking water here, Vince. What are you drinking? You have yours spiked with a little tequila or something even stronger. Uh, let's see, where are we at here? Oh, Cherry Carter. The more that happens, the more I realize I've made it. I've arrived. It doesn't matter. Any kind of publicity is good publicity, and I have 99% of the people that I associate with and then associate with me are wonderful, great people, and I'm grateful for that. Hey, you have to take the bad with the good. That's part of it. Life is not all a bed of roses. It's the way it is. You just ignore them. Concentrate on the 99% of positive vibes, that toxic stuff you don't pay attention to. I would appreciate in the future, though, no sense in giving anybody any needless publicity. Why even bother? So I don't think that's really a good idea, because that's the only way a person like that is going to get any notoriety is for pointing out to the people that have notoriety, you know, and it bothers a lot of them too, you know, uh, you know, shouldn't bother them. Hello, James. Day's going great. How about you? Hello, Gary. I didn't get the entire. See, I was right about Vince. He says I'm a little tipsy right now. My bad. Well, I had a feeling you were by when you say Oasis destroyed the Beatles. I definitely think you had a few too many. So what's on your so-called minds? Hey, anybody out there want to support the channel at all? You can click the button below and make a super chat. You know, consider it. It's not required, but it's appreciated. Let's see. Where are we at now? No, believe me, as I said, that's the only bad thing about mentioning it. I don't want people to think, "Oh boy, what's he gonna think if I think nothing of that kind." I understand completely. Is there a biography of the Beatles I would recommend? Well, I think if you watch the anthology, that's great. I mean, the whole entire multi chaptered anthology, and in books wise, there can only be Mark Lewison's Tune In book, and it's supposed to be the story now is that he's working on part two of Tune In, whatever part two is going to be. He's got to make it three parts to get through the entire history of the Beatles. Who came up with the mustaches for Sergeant Pepper? I guess Paul will say he did. I don't know. I really don't know. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate that sentiment. That's a very nice sentiment from Richard the Music Maniac. You know, thanks very much. So, well, we're almost up to 50 people here today. This is especially here where I am, the Eastern uh, time in the states. It's pretty early. Sometimes people come on here with breakfast. Breakfast with mayo. I remember Karen used to say that. Karen Brayjack. I heard from her the other day, which was nice. Shane says, "Love the videos. Good luck on retirement." Thank you so much, Shane. Come back, Shane. Gary, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hey, anybody, just watching and saying, you know, congratulations and thanks. I appreciate it. Things like that are really the main thing, you know. That's the reason you do it. That's the reason you keep doing it. By the way, some of you know, some of you might not know, but coming Monday is my 10-year anniversary on YouTube. And I have a video that I'm preparing for that. It's going to be a fun video, I think. So don't forget to hit the like button, and also don't forget if you like to hit the super chat button below. Okay, you know, as I say, this is a new thing that I'm doing, the super chat below, but it's very hard because you realize as you're doing it, you don't want to. you don't want to be coming around asking for, you know, stuff. But the thing is, they have it there for a reason. And some people don't know it's there. Some people forget it's there. Some people, whatever. So you have to, every now and then, uh, just mention it. I'm not saying it's not the same thing as spending a full hour to 2 hours every minute, you know, talking about it. All right. Marcus says earlier you talked about soda being bad. Meanwhile, I'm drinking Dr. Pepper. Oh, tell me about it. Soda's bad. Hey, look, I admit I don't hide anything, folks. You know, look, I'm going to tell you something. Okay, I lost. I lost, and everybody can listen to this. Everybody, trolls, good people, trolls, everybody, listen carefully. Okay, I had wound up losing. I lost 16 pounds in 3 weeks last month. In 3 weeks in April, first I lost 16 pounds. But then what I wound up doing was I wound up gaining some of that back because I just went off it. I said, I'll do what I want. That's always the way it is. Some people are always naturally slim, and those are the ones that have the biggest mouths. You know what I mean? So, Padge, thank you so much. Padge, see, Padge here was very nice. I appreciate that. It helps out. Anything helps. Thanks so much for, especially in retirement. Anything helps now, especially in retirement. So, thank you everybody for thinking of me, and thanks for supporting the channel, Padge. Very nice of you. Um, you add lime. What does it say? You add lime and rum to a Coke, and voila, healthy. What? Are you serious? What did I miss some stuff up there? Yeah. I wonder if they could do a Yellow Submarine sequel. They really could. You know, if they kept the artwork exactly the same artwork, they could make a sequel. I think so. Would I be in favor of that? Well, I don't even care about the original 1968 Yellow Submarine. I'm not a big fan of it. I like the music, but I rather watch the real flesh and blood Beatles doing their thing rather than the cartoon Beatles. But for kids, it would be a good thing to make a sequel. Am I going to buy Thriller, the 40th anniversary? Not on your sweet life. No, no, there's no way. No, I mean, I'm fine with the original Thriller, the Michael Jackson album, but I don't need another one of that. Have I warmed to Egypt Station yet? Frank Gilmartin wants to know. I actually have warmed to it. I think it's a pretty good album. I just don't think it's one of his best. I think people really go berserk, in my opinion. Uh, they really like it too much. I think it's not that great of an album. I put it in the middle. There's albums that are on the top, there are albums that are on the bottom, and to me, Egypt Station is somewhere in the middle. But it's a pretty decent album, especially for an older man in his late 70s. Did you know that Bat Out of Hell is coming to Broadway this fall? Mr. Blood Vessel asks. Not only did I not know about that, I don't care either. I wish I could say your name, Machiel de Groot. Hope you are well, Mr. Mayo. I'm listening to Off the Ground today. That's an underrated album. Off the Ground is underrated. Switch a few tracks out and replace the Lovers That Never Were with the demo, and you have a great record. I agree, though, that what you say there. I definitely agree that when it comes to Paul's Off the Ground album, you get an even better album if you take a lot of the bonus tracks, change a few around, substitute. I think they have a really good album there. Renee Rodriguez, what's your opinion on the price gouging by some artists on their vinyl box sets? Beach Boys Summer Hits is six vinyl and it's $180. That's a lot of dinero. I think it sucks. I mean, who likes price gouging? Nobody. Who likes? Who would rather something be $180 rather than $75? Nobody. But you either pay it or you don't, and it sucks. What can you do? Patch says the song "For You" on Egypt Station is the worst song Paul has ever made. I do not agree with that personally. It's the most uh, I wish I could think of the word like what's the word when you're trying to oh wow, I was having one of those days today in the morning. Um like a cheap way to try to get a song interest in a song, it's like, by putting doing the double entendre of the FUH thing in there for you. However, I like the part of the song that goes, I just want to know how you feel. A love that's so real, whatever it was. That part I like. I think that's the chorus. Now, I found out a story somebody told me that, believe it or not, the song For You actually, believe it or not, was a song that got somebody's daughter into the Beatles. A guy said, "My daughter loved the video of that song For You. He loved the song and the video, and she is now a Paul McCartney and Beatles fan because of that video." So that song For You made at least one Beatle fan that we know, and Paul McCartney fan out there that we know of. Hello, John Lee from the UK. I'm doing very well, thank you. Notice you have the Beatles anthology on DVD. Do you own the director's cut? What do you think of it? I don't know. It's funny. A lot of the stuff on there, especially the middle tier behind me up there, the second shelf, is a lot of unusual stuff, right? And I do not have the anthology though. I mean, I could get it anytime I want it, but I don't know why. I haven't gotten it. Richard the Music Maniac thinks the first half of Egypt Station is fantastic. The other half is, he writes, bad. So, let's see. Okay, let's see. Tom Agnotti, what's up, Tom? Tom Agnotti from Two Legs is here. Don't forget to go over there and add the subscription. Subscribe to Two Legs, number two, the number Two Legs, Paul McCartney podcast. And he says it's not necessary the artists that are making you pay those prices. What is it? Oh, it's not necessarily. I think you're saying it's not necessarily the artists who are making you pay those prices. He's telling somebody. Yeah, I've heard that, and but my whole thing with that is, I would think that if I was an artist and I said, hey, they're charging way too much for my fans, and I don't think that's right. I think I'd step in. I think Paul McCartney, if he stepped in and said, look, you're gouging the prices on my fans, could you take it down a notch? I think I don't know if he has the ability to do that. I don't know. You know. Daniel Bean says the song "For You" is catchy and doesn't require thought. He likes it. Okay, there you go. Yes, indeed. Yakking with Friends says the Beatles Get Back Blu-ray is coming this summer. Yes, it is. I made a video about it, but there's not much. The video doesn't really say much, other than the fact that it's coming. And I should have said in there, there's there's no bonus extras as far as film footage or anything like that. There are, I think, four little cards, little cards of the Beatles in there. Uh, when I see that we got a little argument going in here in the peanut gallery talking about Paul versus John, that kind of thing again. I think John needs all the defense he can get these days. I have no problem with that. You know that. You know that. I give Paul his props. Everybody, I did it right here today in this actual chat. I give Paul his props, but there are people that you know who you are, who just think Paul can do no wrong, and I certainly don't think John could do no wrong. He did plenty of wrong, plenty of dumb things. But what can you say? I just think it's sometimes some people won't criticize Paul. Jim Vim, hello. Jim Vim says the director's cut of anthology is not worth having. It was a rough version. It does not show anything more than the released version. Okay. Yeah, Yakking with Friends says, I hear Yoko is very sick. That's very sad. Yeah, she's been sick for some time. And she looks very frail in the videos I've seen, but she seems to, at least publicly, to put up a good front. She seems like she's perfectly okay and smiling and waving and stuff. She's so God bless her. She is. Robert Olson got the Venus and Mars LP today with the gatefold. Very good, very good. Well, I do agree with that. I do agree with that. Padge says, "I love all the Beatles. I just think Paul takes too much credit for the Beatles." You know, he deserves a lot of credit. Here I am again, giving Paul his props. Listen up, everybody, and so give me a support about him. Um, Paul deserves a lot of credit. Paul was the hardest working one. He was the one that stayed at the studio the longest. That really was a perfectionist. Really wanted to get it right. Really kind of pushed everybody else to work when they didn't feel like working. This is becoming more and more evident as the years, decades go by. Um, you can't take it away. You can't take that away from Paul. Oh yeah, the Two Virgins album, great title. Two Virgins, John and Yoko being nude on the front cover and the back cover. Yeah, Paul. Of course, Paul led them through. They would be the Beatles would have broken up a lot sooner if it wasn't for Paul helping keeping them on the path the best he could knew how to do, best he could. All right, what are we doing, folks? What are we doing? What's on your so-called minds? Huh? What's a good word out there? It's early where I am. It's almost 9:30 a.m. and I'm a morning person. I'm a morning person, but not that early of a morning person. And like last night, I went to bed at 12:30 a.m. I wanted to sleep at least till 7. Honestly, I'm a morning person. I like to get up around 7. It's not bad, right? It's not too early. It's not 6. But I woke up a quarter to 5 and I had to use the restroom. So I went to bed at 12:30, woke up a quarter to 5, used the restroom, and then after that I couldn't get back to sleep. So I'm up like 5. Mr. Blood Vessel says, "Will I be at the record store this afternoon?" No, not today. Today I will be at a record store. I'm going to a new record store with Anthony. It's a store that we've never been to before. I personally, I don't have hold out a lot of hope for this store. I don't think it's going to be that great, but we'll see. Let's see where we go to the top first. I agree. He was definitely the workhorse. The Beatles. Yeah, Jim Vim says Paul's strength has always been studio driven. John just wanted to work music wise. Yeah, John. Well, John was more lazy. Let's face it. I don't think that's a great trait when it comes to making artwork and music. Revolver is John's album. Sergeant Pepper's Paul's album. No, a lot of people think Revolver is Paul's album too. Marcus asks, "How's my girlfriend doing?" My girlfriend is doing fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Listen to me. Look into my eyes. Thank you for your thoughts and prayers. She did fantastic. The surgeon was absolutely stunned at how great she's doing. She isn't She's full of energy, she's herself, she's up and moving around, walking around. She can't wait to come home. She's in the hospital right now. She'll be there a few days and then she'll come home. And it is absolutely incredible. And I owe a lot of that to all of you. She's not going to be working for a while. She's got to stay home and rest up for a while and she'll be back to work. But for now, she's not going to be working for a little, I don't know how long. Probably not. I don't know. We don't know. A month, maybe something like that. So thank you, everybody. Thank you. Uh, I am absolutely blessed. So thanks. Well, I wouldn't talk about the store here at Blood Vessel. I actually I don't know the name of it. I just know the town it's in. I know the town it's in. I think it's in Levittown, but somebody's gonna look it up. So what's the difference? Uh, but yeah. Have I seen the sitcom Mom? You talking about the one with that MILF that I like on there, Janie or what? What's her name? Yeah, I've seen a few episodes of it. I don't watch a lot of it, but I've seen a few episodes of it. You know, yeah. They need to make Beatles live at the Hollywood Bowl full concert. If they really tried hard, hopefully someday they will. They will go out there and make live, maybe like a live set, because if they take just the cream of the crop, the best live performances from the Beatles in 63, 64, 65, 66, they could make a nice live set. Maybe they can't include everything, only stuff that's really good quality, and the Beatles have decent performances. Paris of 1965 was very good. Germany in 66 isn't bad. The Tokyo shows I think are pretty, as far as the Beatles' energy is pretty bad, and they're not too good in there. But Shea Stadium, Hollywood Bowl, that kind of stuff. I like what Patch says here. Yes, I agree. John was lazy, but I like to think of John as a lazy genius. You're right. You're right about that. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Sweden of '63 is great. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Jim Vim, thank you, Jim Vim, for your prayers and positivity. Thank you, and your support. Russ Beetle 63 says, I hope the new record store is worth the $5 a gallon ride. Yeah, I know the gas is going up to $5 a gallon. Some people think it's going to be up to $6 a gallon here by midsummer. I heard. You believe that? I don't think that John said the "Cry Baby Cry" was not his. I haven't read it in a while. I know he says it's rubbish, but I don't think he said it wasn't his. I don't remember that part. Um, Woodland Goblin, I love you, but boy, you don't realize. A lot of people don't realize when they're too obsessed with Paul. You know what I mean? Like that he can't do any wrong. It's not flattering. It's unflattering. You got to be able to criticize your heroes, your idols, your favorites now and then. Like I do that. I catch hell when I criticize John, Paul, George, or Ringo, but I'm going to. Have I ever met John Lennon? Nope. Unfortunately, that's one of the big regrets of my life. And the worst part is I had opportunities. I could have went into New York City more than I did. When John Lennon was alive, and during the days, I was anywhere from the age of 15 to the age of 18, 15 to 18 during this late '70s into 1980. I made one pilgrimage with some friends. When I was 15 years old, a bunch of us friends, Beatle friends, we went to the Dakota, and it was something you wouldn't do alone. If you were going to go there, you had to go with people, a group. And we went, and the doorman told us John wasn't there. He was away in Japan, and that was the truth. He was away in Japan. But we had other opportunities in 1978, 1979, 1980 while he was recording Double Fantasy. When we found out he was recording Double Fantasy, we should have hopped right on the train or something and got over there and went to the Dakota in like summer of '80. I don't know what, but we didn't. Summer and fall of '80, I should have went there. Should have went there in '79 also. I don't know why we never went back. Yeah, John said lots of his Beatles songs were rubbish, but that's the mark of a great artist. I always say an artist is his own worst critic. An artist sees all the flaws and the holes and remembers to pain and depression, and when he just knocked off a song just to knock off a song, and things like that, and they see things we don't see, you know. Anthony is not going to be driving today. James Farley. I am going to be driving today, actually. You know, I won't watch the Paul is Dead documentaries. They're bullshit. So it's nonsense to me. But I mean, I've seen things over the decades. Okay, Gil Harper asks a question everybody knows the answer to probably. You have 1 minute to talk to either John, Paul, George, or Ringo. Which one do you talk to? John. Yeah, for sure. Jim Vim says, lucky to meet Paul face to face pre show last time he played Hamilton, Canada. Asked the security when his limo was due. Okay. Yeah, Jim Vim says, always admired John's honesty regarding the Beatles. He always spoke his mind, no filter. Yeah, but as I get older, I'm starting to think it's good to have a filter. My whole life, I've been a lot like John Lennon, and I do it right here. I do it right here when I do these live streams. I just kind of like to speak my mind. I like to be honest, open. I like to tell it like I feel it and be straight with everybody. I don't like to lie. But sometimes you got to put a filter and you got to watch because, especially in these days, let's not say this. I'm doing a filter right now, doing a filter right now. There's a lot of things I'd like to say, but I'll beat around the bush and I'll say, these days you got to be careful. That's all. That's how I word it. But you know what I'm talking about. You know. So, hello, Prog Rock Tommy. What's going on? Darren Gamble, there will be no singing. I don't know why you're not around. Whenever I'm in the mood to sing and make a fool of myself, you're never around. I don't know why. Woodland Goblin says Paul definitely has a filter, yet is very genuine at the same time in his interviews. Yeah, I guess so, but I don't think he's always genuine, but he's genuine a fair amount. I don't believe that. I never heard. Jim. I think that's a rumor. I don't believe that John booked Paul, and Paul had booked studio time with John about a Beatles reunion in 1981. I have never heard that before. I could be wrong. You could be right. Maybe I just learned something, but I'm pretty sure that the Beatles had no reunion in mind in 1981. So there you go. There. So what's going on, folks? Hey, what's up there? You seemed a bit punch drunk last night. Did you get some good sleep last night? I got better sleep, more sleep than I got in the last 2 nights, but I still didn't get enough today. Today, this morning, I'm pretty punch drunk. But yeah, last night I was pretty tired. Yeah, but what can I tell you? I'm glad, Lenono 914. I'm glad you thought it was entertaining last night. Somebody said you're making a fool of yourself, and I said I don't care what you think. Some people think I was making a fool, and some people think that that I wasn't, like yourself. Whatever. I act the fool once in a while. It's nice to be silly and have a good time. Julio, my friend Julio's here. He says, "You look much better today. I guess you got some rest." I did get some rest. Still didn't get enough rest because my body clock. I just wake up. I still only got 4.5 hours. I like to get like 7 one day. Um, Jim Vim says Paul is very shrewd regarding his image. He's very PR minded. He is. He is. And I think Ringo's even called him, or John called him, the greatest PR man ever. Cherry Carter says, I think John would be flabbergasted today if we were talking about him and the Beatles. Yeah, but I don't know. You don't know. I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't be so surprised. Did you ever see that clip from that movie Two of Us where John puts down a fan? That's why I love John. He's ruthless. Yeah, but I don't. But that's the story. The movie Two of Us is a fantasy. It's not a real account. Um, John, I have stories where John kind of said no to a couple of fans that I know, but more stories than not that he was very good with the autographs, and he signed an autograph the day he was murdered for that piece of crap that murdered him. And there's a web Facebook page I noticed where there's a lot of fan pictures of John signing autographs everywhere. You know, I see more pictures of John Lennon signing autographs than anybody else of the Beatles. So yeah, Julio gets like 7 hours of sleep. That's about what I'd like to get. Yeah. In the 1990s, did you subscribe to Beatles bootleg review fanzines like the 910 or Belmo's Beatles News? I didn't subscribe, but if I saw some of those once in a while on the newsstand or at Tower Records in the magazine section or something, I'd buy it. Do I really like the new couch? Yes, I really do. Why do you think I'm lying about it? Yeah. Julio says, I think John Lennon tended to be very friendly to the public. For the most part, yeah. And again, I'm trying to be fair here. I know there's been some stories where he wasn't too cool, but for the most part, that's why he liked New York. He liked the vibe. He liked people saying, "Hey, man, how you doing, John?" Hey, he was cool with that. He was a cool guy like that. And I missed my opportunities. You know, to try to get it. Who knew that he was going to be dead? Who knew? You know. George's electronic sound I've never played. I know what it is. I know what it's going to be before I play it, and then that reminds me again of things I keep saying I'm going to do that I don't do. I was going to make a video at some point where I was going to dedicate myself uh, to just listening to weird albums like Electronic Sound and Two Virgins, Life with the Lions. I never did it yet. Oh, Jim Vim, strange rumor that Yoko called off John's security guard night of his murder. Jim Vim, that's absurd. That's absurd. People just love to make that crap up. People hate Yoko so much. I think people still got Yoko derangement syndrome. I really do think they got that. Let's see. All right, right. What do you think, David Welch? What do you think about George's comment after the rooftop performance in the control room? We make it look like we had to stop because of the police. Yeah. Well, yeah, they're trying to make a movie. They're trying to make a drama there. Yeah, I get it. Okay, Cherry Carter, the clip where the cameraman says to John, "How do you feel with a million watching you?" He says, "Dead face. There's only one person." I think electronic sound, Padge says, I think electronic sound is a great early example of the Moog synthesizer. Now, here's the thing, I had a big debate with this. Moog synthesizer is spelled with two O's. I want to say Moog. I think even the Beatles called it Moog synthesizer. But what I've heard is that's not the correct uh, way to pronounce it. It's Moog. So that just is something to think about. Okay, okay. Yes, indeed. You can call it, Peter Boothroyd says you can call it both, Moog or Moog. Now, Rock and Roll Rebel says the guy himself, Moog or Moog, says, quote, say it how you want, just know what it is. He says there's an interview on YouTube and the guy himself says, just say it however you want to say it, as long as you know what it is. Yeah, it's true what Lenono says. John and Ringo were definitely going to get together. John was supposed to work on Ringo's album, the album that became "Stop and Smell the Roses." At that time, it might have been called "Can't Fight Lightning," or maybe it didn't have a title yet. But yeah, John was definitely supposed to meet with Ringo to work on Ringo's album. That's as far as I know about plans that that John had. Hello to Conga Man. Hello, hello. Uh, well, Jim Vim, I have to tell you, one thing I do not entertain here is this nonsense. It is a CIA connection to the rat Fink, the ass that killed John. There is no way that I believe there's any kind of connection. He acted alone. He's just a Disturbed fan, and that's it. I've read enough about that, so I don't subscribe to that. We disagree, so I don't engage that. Well, this is a shirt on the Munsters. That's what this is. I never say his name. I never say his name. I see that idiot, that rat. I look anytime he's brought up, it gives me an opportunity to insult him. So that's fine. But any true fan should even mention the guy's name. You know, what's your thoughts on the FBI tracking John? It was ridiculous. It was idiotic. Things have certainly changed from then to now. I'll tell you that. Uh, let's see. A lot of stuff coming up. Some people might have to do a super chat to highlight your question. If you want to make sure your question gets seen, please make sure you do a super chat so it gets highlighted. But anyway, do I think that if John had lived, just complete speculation, do you think there could have been a grand reunion? I think ultimately, I don't know for sure, but I think ultimately, uh, it would have to have been that they get together at some point. I think they would have gotten together just for maybe like a special event or something for like one show or something. Not touring, not a whole tour, and maybe not even a new album. I think they were right not to get together though. I think because, that's why we're still sitting here talking about them. They have a flawless catalog, a music catalog. They didn't do a lot of mediocre albums like the Rolling Stones for going on past their prime. That was a good thing about the Beatles. Kenny's here, only sleeping. Says, I missed Talk More Talk live, but I watched it. Great topic as usual. So we were talking about Ringo's Time Takes Time album from 1992. Please subscribe to that channel too. It's a channel that I have on the side. It's called Talk More Talk. And in the Talk More Talk show, what we do is talk mostly about Beatles solo. If you don't know a lot of the solo stuff, you can learn a lot of stuff about it. And there are four of us on there: myself, Ken Michaels, Tom Agnotti, and Kid O'Toole, and we have a blast every other Monday doing it live. And after the videos are over, if the show is done live, it becomes a video. So check out Talk More Talk. Julio says, no, the mediocre albums came during the solo careers. Yeah, there were some mediocre albums. I agree. Of course, what those mediocre albums are is a matter of opinion. For example, Julio loves Wings Wildlife. I also enjoy Wings Wildlife, but most people think it's mediocre. So yeah, there's mediocres. It's mediocre albums, mediocre. Just call it mediocre. So come on, folks. We're here an hour. We've only gotten one super chat. Anybody else want to support the channel? If so, click on that little funky middle sign below, and you can do it with a comment as well. You can add a comment, highlight the comment, and you know, think of it as like a tip jar. So, you talk. Kenny also loved Tom Hagnotti's review of Paul McCartney's concert. I will check that on two legs. But also, I forgot. No, on our Time Takes Time Ringo show that we just did. Also on that show, Tom Agnotti talks about his experience with the McCartney show. You're right there, James Farley. Ringo's album called Ringo is definitely the closest thing to a reunion. There's Julio doing his thing again. Yeah, I don't really know what that is. Who that is, Julio? Am I going to the Chicago Fest? No, I'm not going to the Chicago Fest, but I would like to go to the Chicago Fest next year. I'll tell you though, there is a possibility. I'm not going to see, even though I'm saying I'm not going to August. If things go really well, I might surprise people, but for the most part, I don't think so. Good morning, Beans. Beans is here. Let's see, where are we at? I don't know if I missed anything. Looking back, Scott Dog asked, was there ever a Beatles LP or CD bootleg release that blew your mind or was a favorite? Yeah, there were. Well, the one that blew my mind the most was the first time we got the album. Oh, geez. I don't know what it was called then. It's now we know it as Unsurpassed Masters. Ultra Rare Tracks. The first time in like the late 80s where we got that music from the master tapes, all those outtakes. That blew my mind because it was studio outtakes. And it was right off. It sounded better than the real albums. It was right off the master tapes. That blew my mind. I agree with that too. Yeah, Russ says the Johnny and the Moondogs album. Johnny and the Moondogs has a Sweden '63 concert. You're right. That's a very good show. There's not a lot of girls screaming, so the Beatles can hear themselves, and it really is a very, very good thing. Thanks for bringing that up, Russ. That was another one that I like for sure. Okay. Ooh, stomach is growling. Ugh. What's going on, folks? Once in a while, anybody new join us? Jim Vim is saying Yellow Dog, the Yellow Dog era had unsurpassed masters, best bootlegs ever. Yeah, well, those unsurpassed masters, those are the ones I'm talking about. That were called ultra rare tracks originally on vinyl. They came out on vinyl first as ultra rare tracks, then later on it became unsurpassed masters. That whole thing, that's what I'm talking about. Do you think we'll ever experience a decade as groundbreaking as the '60s again? No. Hey, Robert Logan. Somebody beat you to the punch today. You didn't get to mention the Chicago Fest first. Yeah, I'm going to be on for a little while longer, folks. So everybody, leave your comments, bring up your topics, and let's see how it goes. Okay, reading comments here. I'm supposed to get together today for those who just joining us with my friend Anthony. Supposed to get together about an hour, hour and a half from now. Anthony always likes getting together late. Oh, see you 11:30 or 12. No, no, no. Let's get together 10. I'd rather get together like 10 a.m. rather than like 11:30 or 12 p.m. I'm an early bird. The morning's beautiful. When the sun is out in the morning, like it is now, let's enjoy it before it goes dark or gets gray. Let's really have a good time while we can and everything's cooperating. You know. Julio says I worked with a guy in the very early '80s that owned all of those alternate takes and unreleased Beatles material and would play it all day constantly. Yeah, Woodland Goblin. That was another good album. An album Woodland Goblin mentions called "Nothing Is Real" by the Beatles. It had like a whole bunch of takes of Strawberry Fields Forever on it. There's another good album called "Dig It." Another good unofficial album called "Dig It" that has the 8-minute version of the song "Dig It," which is fun. James says, reminder for everyone to hit the like button. Of course, the like button in this case being the one with the kind of a dollar symbol on it. If you want to, support us. The guy that Julio was talking about was supposedly one of the biggest Beatles collectors in the world. Guy that had all those um, the alternate takes and unreleased Beatles material. Oh, Jim Vim, I would love for Apple to release a box set of alternate studio versions. I mean, that's what that's what gets me excited when it comes to rarities. I would love that, you know. Let's check my phone out while I'm here. Yeah, it's another one, the 1985 Sessions album. That's another good one. Ah, Julio says this collector friend that he knew had the Windows stand-up display for the original Beatles '65 album. Oh, that would make that would blow my mind. Yeah. I'm not familiar with Abbey Road and Beyond, that particular box set. Oh, Robert Logan. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get the Get Back Blu-ray. I don't know if I'm going to be ordering it online or I'm just going to take a chance of going to a store. I'm hoping they're going to be in stores, some stores, Target or wherever. Hey, there he is, Alan C. Records. My friend Alan is here. Hello. Alan and I are thinking of doing some work together here and there on the Mets, doing a Mets series. We have to see how that goes. I still don't know what I can talk about just yet. So I got a message here from my friend Anthony. I'm gonna play that message, but of course I'm gonna mute this conversation as I listen. Hey, Andrew Dixon's here. Hello, Andrew. Andrew Dixon says, "Hi, Joe. Do you still have much space for the new box sets when they come? The wall behind you looking pretty full now." Andrew, the answer is no. I do not. I do not. I mean, I can always make room if I'm retired now. I don't have any excuses, right? I can take this place and I can completely tear it apart, throw the junk out, move. I have clothes everywhere. You can't see it because it's off camera. I got clothing everywhere around here. I could make more room. Um, but I really have to do that because it's getting insane. Insane, to tell you the truth. Anthony, I just got done telling you that we're going to get together at 11:30, right? Well, Anthony leaves me a message and says there's been an update, a change in the schedule. Now we're getting together at 11:30. I know that. That's what I thought we were getting together. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So where are we at here? Lenono says, "Yeah, the album 'Dig It' that I spoke of was one of the first boots that he bought. We're going to school in New York and found it at Bleecker Street Records. You know if they're still open? I haven't been to the city in many, many years now, and a lot of those stores are not there anymore. You know, but I haven't go. Well, maybe Julio would know. I don't know if Julio here has been to the city, but I don't go to those stores anymore. I've heard that the stores are not that great. You know, I don't know. In Manhattan, I'm talking about. There was some glory day. The glory days were the 70s and 80s for those stores. Some of those stores. I went to a store called Revolver Records in the Village, Greenwich Village. A lot of people here will know that store, Revolver Records, and those were some great days. Oh, here we go. CD Man 40 gives us the update. Bleecker Street Records closed several years ago. It moved to the old location on West 4th, then closed several years later. Yeah. Do serious Beatles collectors have hoarding issues? Is collecting ever enough? Well, I've made a couple of videos on that. I made a video, you want to look it up. I made a video. It's called "Are We Collectors or Hoarders?" I think is what I called it. And then I went another one, collecting, when is enough enough? Is enough ever enough? So you can look those up. It's an individual thing. I think the word hoarding, hoarders is one of those stupid words in today's world. Everything's got to have a word. Hoarders, you're a hoarder. Whatever. You know what? You know what I was going to call my channel originally? The Happy Hoarder. You heard of the Happy Hooker? This is the Happy Hoarder. Let's see what else do we got here. CD Man 40. I actually stopped that. Oh, you said Bleecker. Oh, you mean Bleecker Street Records is the last day they were open. I grew up in Greenwich Village. It's very nice. It was a great place. I mean, I can't imagine it's the same anymore. Nothing's the same. That's why I live my life happy to be the age I am now, happy to have had the best years that I lived through. And now all I do is walk around now, honestly, and hope that I don't get shot going into a church or a supermarket or a bank or anywhere else. And I just stick with everything I love and I already spent 3 quarters of my life enjoying, and I got in the last quarter. I'm gonna have a good time as long as I can, and that's it. Oh, there was in San Diego, California. There was a store, Blue Meanie Records. Oh, Frank 88. Hello, Frank 88. What's going on? I never liked Bleecker Bob's, Rahul. Even in the glory days, I don't think I ever bought anything from Bleecker Bob's store. Every time I went in there, that's a very popular store. But now here's Woodland Goblin. Joe, you wouldn't want to be 23 again? I wouldn't want to be 23 in 2022. I can tell you that. Being the age of 23 back in 1985 when I was, or even better, being 23 in like 1979. Sure. If I had no offense, and I know there's a lot of people listening and watching. It's just my opinion. You don't have to share that opinion, but it's my opinion. Bleecker Bob hated everybody, Julio says, but for some reason he liked Julio. Julio, everybody likes you. You're a great guy. You know what I mean? You're a likable guy. Okay. I also have to write down here. Just going to send a text to Anthony. Yeah, Record Runner. I remember Record Runner. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. CD Man says the only great record stores that are still here are is it Generation Records? Yeah, Generation Records. I remember that store. That's exactly what Woodland Goblin. I just texted Anthony and said, "Are we gonna eat too, or what?" You know. So let's hope so. Loved Bleecker Bob's. Are you going to the car wash today? I don't think so. I'll be driving my car, and I'm not going to the car wash with it. I'm thinking of shutting this down now, folks. Before I go, if anybody enjoyed this, if anybody, it's not a requirement, but I have to ask because it helps sometimes. Before I shut this down for a little bit, if anybody wants to make I don't know what word to use, contribution, you know, wants to help out the channel, please hit the super chat, and I'll stay right a little longer, talk a little bit more, answer more questions, whatever, for a little bit. It says, always felt sorry for vinyl snobs with an attitude, ignore and feel good about what you have. Exactly, Jim. Exactly. Yes, I do believe Bleecker Bob's was on an episode of Seinfeld. Yes, I do. I think that's. I remember seeing it on some TV show. I'm thinking, what TV show did I see Bleecker Bob's on? Or they talked about it or something, and then I didn't remember the show. And then when you said Seinfeld, I guess that's it because I remember it being featured. All right, so are we all done? Any last questions or super chats before I go? Julio says, "Have a cool day with your buddy." Yes, indeed, my buddy Anthony. Anthony, we're gonna get together early today, as you know by now. Anybody watching this, right? Let's see. At Village Music, CD Man says at Village Music World, the owner Jamal remembered me from his brother's record store in the 80s, around 1982. Just that's the thing. You know what's funny? We probably were there together looking through records in those days. Isn't that funny how that is? We probably were there. We didn't know each other, but we probably were there together. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. I'll be doing this, you know, from time to time. You know that I like doing it. Uh, that's okay. No problem, Jim Vim. No problem. It's not a requirement. So everybody, thank you so much for being here. Talk to you soon. Looking forward to making a video with my friend Annie today, and hopefully we're gonna go to a new record store that we haven't been to before, and hopefully I find something. And for Anthony, I hope he finds something there like I don't know, a comic book or something that he likes because he's not into records. So to him, it's just no big deal. Okay. Keep hunting for those hype stickers. Indeed, indeed. Whatever makes you happy, right? All right. Take care, everybody. Talk soon.